Hi everyone! So, I was just at the salon getting my hair done when I got a notification that a box of plants had been delivered that I didn't know was going to be delivered today. So, surprise! Filming an unboxing video that I wasn't planning on filming today. But this is a box of plants from Greenspaces.id. They did reach out to me and wanted to know if we could collaborate on doing a video together. I've heard good things about them from other people, so I said yes. So they sent me a bunch of plants, and to be honest with you, I don't even remember what all they said they were going to send me at this point. And I do see that they are apparently using Plant Stop USA, which, as I've explained to you before, is a broker that kind of helps prevent delays in things from importing plants overseas. Now, Greenspaces.id is based in Indonesia. However, I did not get notification that this was on its way, which this has been my experience with Plant Stop USA for, I think I've had 3 deliveries now that went through them. So that is still one of my complaints that I will be sure to address with them. But I didn't know it was coming. So honestly, I don't even know what day it shipped on. So I have absolutely zero clue how long these plants have been in this box. I will try to find out and flash it up on screen for you if I can, because I always like for you guys to see how long they've been in the box. This does say UPS 3-day select on the label, but that is just the label from Plant Stop to me. That is not from Greenspaces.id to Plant Stop. So hopefully I can figure out and put it up on screen for you, but we are going to be chasing daylight. However, I also didn't want to just leave these plants in the box any longer than they had to be. So we are going to go ahead and get into this box and see what we've got. I did go ahead and grab some things of water because, as we know, anytime import plants come in, we need to rehydrate those roots. Whether or not I got the correct size of vessels this time, we'll see. Usually I get the wrong size for what I end up needing, but I forgot what's in this box. So this is going to be a surprise for me and a surprise for you. I don't even remember how many plants are in here. Let me make sure on my other camera you guys can see what I am doing and actually start recording, because I hadn't hit record over there. So really glad I decided to check and center that. All right, we're definitely recording over there. Okay, so let's just go right into this. I have never received plants from Greenspaces.id before, so this is going to be new to me, but these look packaged very similarly to other plants that I've imported from other companies. They do have cute little paper wrapping that has their logo on it. The plant is in a little plastic container here with sphagnum moss inside of it. This is a type of Hoya right here. Let me just get them all out of here first. We have a Aglaonema as well. Don't fall off the table. I ain't got time for that. An Anthurium. Let's see, another Anthurium. A Syngonium. And is this one plant? And a very large plant. That is a Monstera. No wonder it's so big. Okay, let me get the box out of the way. I kind of want to save the biggest for last. What do you guys think? I think we're going to save the biggest for last. Although, where am I going to? I'm going to put it on the ground because I don't have room for it on my desk with everything else. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I was hoping there was some extra paper, more than just this, in the box to put the moss on, but I'll just use the paper from the first plant we unwrap to help try and keep my desk clean, even though you guys know it's not going to stay very clean. But the cats are also, it's approaching their dinner time, so I definitely had to film in here. Theo is like staring through the doors of my office right now like, why are you filming on a Saturday? You don't film on Saturday unless there's like a plant show, and then you're not home filming. So he's very confused. So hopefully we can get this done relatively quickly before he starts clawing and meowing at the door, because he is just going to start to demand food at some point. Where did I put my scissors? Oh, there they are. Okay, let me start cutting through the tape that is holding the paper on here. The other bad thing was, you guys, I was not home when these were delivered and it has been pouring down rain today. Now, good news is the rain has cooled things off, because prior to now, like, I would have been more terrified that I wasn't home, because feels like 100 degrees, right? High 90s. So luckily things were like, I think super low 80s today. So good thing that if they were going to be outside for a while, it was today. But also it was pouring down rain. I was worried the box was going to get all soaked and everything. So I managed to find somebody to come bring them inside for me while I was getting my hair done. So that definitely helped. But okay, we're opening the Aglaonema first. Ooh. All right, so I have never shipped an Aglaonema imported an Aglaonema is what I'm trying to say before. So this is my first experience with that. This is a Aglaonema Emerald. And these leaves, some of them are definitely dying off. That's okay. I'm gonna try and just because this is super kind of pinched together here, it's gonna be hard for me. I don't want to accidentally break a leaf trying to split them to show you. So I'm going to take the moss off of the roots first in this case, even though normally I show you what the plant looks like before we do that, just so that hopefully I can spread those leaves out a little bit more without risking breaking anything. All right, this moss feels slightly damp, but definitely not overly damp, which is good. That's always what we want. Try not to make a mess. All right, these roots look really good, you guys, really good. Like I said, didn't really know what to expect with this because never imported an Aglaonema before. There is just a tiny bit of dead root where it had snapped off. But other than that, these roots look pristine. They look beautiful. We do, like I said, have a little bit of leaf die-off happening right there, but that's okay. And I think probably, oh yeah, this leaf's totally like broken off. But also, can we just talk for a second about how pretty these leaves look when they die off? Come on, camera, work with me. They're like a pinky color. You guys see that? That's pretty. Okay. Also really enjoying that they have these this is going to be one of those days with the camera, super light pink stems. It almost looks white on camera when I'm looking at it, you guys, but in person it's like a very pale pink. It's really beautiful. So the newest leaves in the middle still look good here. One of them doesn't even look like it's fully hardened off, but hopefully you can get an idea looking at that, what this plant's going to look like. It's kind of a lightish green, a little bit of dark green, splashy speckly variegation with the pink veins down the middle and a little bit of the pink splashy variegation on there. Man, I wish I could spread these apart a little bit more easily for you guys to see, but once again, I just don't want to risk causing a problem there. Look at that. I really like this big old chunk of green over here. Interesting. I will have to see if I can find a picture on their site of one that's hopefully splayed out a little bit more that maybe I can show you so that you can have a better idea, but this is super exciting. Okay, so this is my this will be my third Aglaonema that I've owned. I did own, oh man, I just totally blanked on the name of that one. It was a reddish, greenish, speckly one like this, something cherry. And I did sell that one off a few years ago and I kept my Maria. So my Maria is the only other one I have right now, but I love Aglaonema, you guys. They are so easy to take care of, so laid back. I'm gonna pop this into one of the vessels of water I got, because like I said, we always wanna be rehydrating those roots. And if you are new here, I do have a video all about how to rehab your imported plants. I will link that down below in the description for you in case you need it. Oh. Two of the plants just slid off the desk. It's gonna be one of those days, you guys. One of those days, because this wasn't planned, so everything and anything that can possibly go wrong will probably go wrong. 1 second. Okay. Let me set those up there. Maybe that'll be safer. Okay. What was I saying? Okay, I'm going to link the video down below if you need instructional help on how to rehab imported plants, but the first thing you always want to do is to put them in water to rehydrate the roots. Okay, nice thing about this one is I managed to keep most of the sphagnum moss in the little baggie. So that's gonna help me kind of keep things a little bit cleaner doing this on my desk. Alrighty, let me stash this in the box. And then let me rotate my paper I took off of that one around so we can cover a little bit more space here. Okay, who do we want to do next? We had 2 Anthuriums, so why don't we do one of the Anthuriums next? So in case you weren't counting, I think it's, yeah, 6 plants in total that we're gonna be unboxing here. It's a good thing I just actually purged a bunch of plants out of inventory. I say purged, sold. I say purged because I actually sold them at a super discounted rate because they've just been in my inventory for too long. And I was like, they gotta go. I'm just stressed out right now. Like I feel like I don't have as much time to take care of plants lately as I used to. And I was like, I really need to decrease the number of plants that I have in inventory. Oh my gosh, like, feel little hairs from when I got my hair cut, like on my face. It's driving me nuts. So if I'm like scratching at my face a lot in this video, that's why. But I also managed to purge some of the plants that I had mentioned back in my spring purge video that I wanted to purge. I was able to purge those recently as well. So good news is I got a lot of plants out of the house. Bad news is now I got 6 more, but good news is I got a bunch out. So at least I'm not gonna feel more overwhelmed, if you know what I mean. And I got rid of way more than 6. So hopefully I will be okay. Ooh, I'm excited about this one. Oh, it's just a little baby. Just a little baby Anthurium, but an Anthurium that I would be super excited to own, and now I am super excited to own. It is a Anthurium King of Spades. Now, once again, just a itty bitty baby, but hopefully you can see, got that beautiful spade kind of shape to the leaf, hence why it is named that. And that veining will become a little bit more pronounced as this plant matures, but it's not like a super wide silvery vein, if you will. I will find a mature picture of one that I can flash up on screen for you, but super excited to have one. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that it is a little one like this because I have had more problems with imported Anthurium that are mature than immature. And I think it's because the more mature they get, the bigger and thicker those roots get. And for whatever reason, they just have a bigger tendency to want to rot when I try to rehab them. And little ones like this that have, typically they'll have smaller, thinner roots, I find they are easier to rehab without an issue. I don't know what it is about those bigger, thicker, chunkier roots. They just struggle a little bit more. And I don't remember if I said this a second ago or not, but there is a new leaf coming in on this one that hasn't even fully unfurled yet. So that's exciting. Anytime you see that a plant was continuing to grow while it was being shipped overseas, that's always a good thing. This moss also feels slightly damp, but not too damp, which is what we want. Ooh, these roots look pretty good. Do see some of what I always see on Anthurium, so that I almost always see a little bit of rot and then breakage. There's always breakage. You guys see how that's hanging off by a thread right there, like right by my finger there? It's broken. So when you do have broken roots like this, you're gonna want to remove them. This one's like hanging by a thread, so I'm just gonna pop it off with my finger, but with snips is probably the better way to go. Other than that though, these roots look pretty good. I just have discovered, or found, I guess I should say, that Anthurium roots are more likely to snap in transit than other plants' roots, at least in my experience. So once these get fully rehydrated, I will go ahead and snip anything that broke in transit. And if anything starts to go to mush while it is rehydrating, which does tend to happen with Anthurium for me, and by mush, I mean it's not going to turn like brown. They turn like translucent. So these look very opaque right now. If they're going to go to mush when they're rehydrating, they just stop looking opaque. They look translucent, and if you pinch it, it's mush. So I always remove all of that after at least 24 hours in water. And of course, I need a smaller thing of water than I got naturally. Is how it always goes. 1 second. Okay, a little bit smaller thing here. Might even go for even a smaller one here in a bit. Okay, put that one up there. Once again, I love that I'm able to pull these out and the moss is just staying in the bag. Makes keeping things clean so much easier. Okay, let's see. Do we want to open the Syngonium? Let's do the Syngonium next. It's been a while since I've imported a Syngonium. Ooh. So, this is actually a cultivar, a variation, if you will, on a Syngonium that I already have. It is a variegated version of a Syngonium that I already have. Actually, it is a variegated version of the Syngonium that is sitting on my desk right now. So, let me get through this tape. I have found in the past that Syngonium usually ship pretty well from overseas. They usually recover pretty well, and even if something goes wrong and like all the roots die off or something in shipping, Syngonium reroot so easily and so fast that you can just like remove all the dead roots, throw it in water, and in a few weeks you're usually good to go. It's really rare for a Syngonium, at least in my experience, to just be completely insalvageable when shipping overseas, although I did have that one instance one point in time where the plants were in the box for 14 days and it was hot, and yeah, those ones, they did not all make it. But that's a unique situation. Oh, wow. Okay, I will tell you guys real quick though, Syngonium, like they ship well, they recover well, but they do have a tendency to lose leaves, more so than other plants that you import. But it doesn't matter. Like they'll start to grow again real quickly, but just don't be surprised if you order Syngonium from overseas if they lose a lot of leaves in transit, regardless of how long they're in the box. They just, for whatever reason, are more likely to lose leaves. Once again, in my experience, may not be everybody's experience, but I've imported a lot of plants at this point, and yeah, that's just been my experience. I just want to go ahead and get it out of the moss first, just because I'm finding that to be an easier way to go about things today. I don't know, just doing things differently than normal. Whoa, that is a long root coming out of there. Jeez, still going. Still going. Still going. Wow, okay. That was a lot of root right there. A lot of root right there. Okay, let me stash the bag of sphagnum moss. Okay, so before I show you the leaves of the plant, I will say one thing that does have a tendency to happen on Syngoniums. So usually you'll notice that Syngoniums have a lot more of the fine, super fine secondary roots coming off of the main root, like you see right there. A lot of those will die off in transit. That's not surprising at all. But as long as you still have super healthy main root, right here, you're fine, which we do. So I will rehydrate this, and then once it's rehydrated for at least 24 hours, what I literally will do, you guys, is I will just run my finger, take it out of the water and run my finger down, and all of the like dead, smaller secondary roots will just naturally come off. I find that to just be the easiest way to do it, because otherwise you have to sit there forever trying to trim off the stuff that looks like it's died with your snips. All right, so like I said, not unexpected for some leaves to die off in transit. That's what happened here. But look at this beautiful leaf right here. And this is a variegated Syngonium white butterfly. Now, as usual, the lighting in here, when it shines through the backs of the leaves, not the most ideal thing for you to see the coloration on that plant, on the plant leaves, but that is actually pretty much what it looks like when I'm looking at it in person. But what's really interesting to me is look how different the backside of the leaf looks. Isn't that crazy? It almost looks more variegated on the backside. It's so fascinating, so fascinating. I'll try to see if I can find a picture from their website of a more mature one to flash up on screen for you, but super excited about that. Let's say the leaves seem a little bit larger form, or it's more mature already than my regular Syngonium white butterfly, but super fascinating, super happy to have this one and compare how it ends up looking and growing to my regular white butterfly. Okay, we got that one in some water. Doing a pretty good job of not making a huge mess so far. All right, let's do the Hoya next. All right, so you guys know I'm a little bit picky about my Hoyas. I'm pretty sure this is a fairly large-leafed one. I'm usually not a huge fan of large-leafed Hoya, but we'll see. We'll see. Every now and again, I'm like, maybe they'll grow on me. Like whenever I get a large-leaf Hoya from anyone, I keep it. Like I don't just totally dismiss it right away or anything like that, because I keep thinking like one of these days it's going to grow on me, the larger-leafed Hoyas. So far, that has not been the case, but we'll see. All right, and Hoyas usually ship pretty well for me. Oh my God, this one's massive, you guys. It's massive. This will be the largest leafed Hoya I have ever received in my life. Okay, this is a Hoya latifolia albomarginata round leaf. Now, quick reminder before I show this to you, albomarginata means outer variegated. These leaves are huge. It's huge. That is a massive leaf. Look how big that leaf is, you guys. Oh, it's a very pretty leaf though. Look at it. But look, it's like, oh, like the size of my hand. That is massive. That is bigger than the what is commonly referred to as dinner plate Hoya, which was previously the largest leafed Hoya that I owned at one point. Oh, poor leaf. It's a little bit severed there, but that's okay. Like, oh my goodness. Look at that though. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, maybe this will be the one that grows on me. Oh, I feel like this is gonna have to be trellised though. I think that's another reason I'm not a fan of a lot of large leafed Hoyas, is because I really prefer to let my Hoyas trail. I mean, I guess you could still let it trail, right? Anybody grow one of these trailing or a non-variegated form of it? Comment down below and let me know. All right, well, that is stunning though. Like, look how pretty it is. It's so pretty. Okay, let me get in to this cup. This one's in a cup instead of just a baggie. Maybe it'll be easier to get into for that reason, possibly. And we'll see how the roots are doing. So like I said, Hoyas usually do pretty okay in overseas shipping as far as my experience has been. And another thing is like if Hoyas lose all their roots, they're also really easy to reroot from scratch. So if something goes wrong, I mean, they're hardy. They're hardy because they're epiphytes. They're used to just having hardly any roots in the wild and having them exposed, you know? So no big deal if the roots aren't entirely perfect. Come on now. There we go. All right, so this moss is just gonna have to make a bit of a mess because it is in, oh, I was hoping I could reuse this cup, but then I tried to pinch it a little bit to get the moss out and totally cracked it all the way up the side. I could probably still reuse it. Okay, this moss, even though it was in a cup with aeration, by the way, there were holes there to help aerate while it was in transit. It still feels the same level of dampness as the moss that was in the little baggie, so that's good. I don't know, you guys, this might be the Hoya that becomes my first large leaf Hoya. The coloration on it's just so beautiful, but I don't know if I'm just gonna get frustrated trying to grow it and keep it looking good, trellised or however I end up doing it. I don't know, we'll see. I give everything a go. I'm not just gonna be like, ugh, like, you know, and who would say ugh to that? It's a beautiful plant, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not just a, ew, it's ugly about big leafed Hoyas. It's not my personal preference. And once again, if you like to let let me try this again. If you like to let Hoyas trail, any plant trail, the larger leaf is, the weirder it's gonna look if you let it trail. Okay, these roots look pretty good. They are quite dry though, but that is not unusual for Hoya roots because they are so fine. So this is one of those things where I think these look okay right now and they will rehydrate okay, but after they've been in water for 24 to 48 hours, we may discover differently. So I'm just gonna add these in, if I can, with the King of Spades over here. Maybe I need to take the King of Spades out, put this in first. And okay, it's in. Oh my God, it's so beautiful though, you guys, so pretty. Okay, Quit like gushing over here. Maybe I can shove this moss back in this cup so that I'm at less risk of making a mess. I'll just set this down in the box with the other moss. And for those of you who may have heard me state in previous videos that I personally don't like to buy sphagnum moss to use, I only use sphagnum moss for things if it's sphagnum moss that I already have, and how I get all my sphagnum moss that I already have, which I currently have a lot, is from plant shipments like this. And if you guys are unsure about how to sterilize it to reuse it, I've never done a video on that just because it's just real simple. So the video would be like a 3-minute video. Maybe I'll still do it at one point in time, but just so you know, since you're watching this right now, just throw it in a pot of water, bring it to a boil and boil it for at least 10 minutes, drain it out, let it cool, dry, store it, you're good to go. Okay. All right, we got one more Anthurium and then we have the Monstera that we'll do last. And interestingly enough, this plant is also a variegated version of a plant that I already own. So that is exciting that there are 2 plants in this shipment that are variegated versions of plants that I already own. And this is actually a variegated version of the very first Anthurium that I ever got. So if you've been here for a while, you probably already have guessed what kind of Anthurium this is, but I personally don't think I've ever seen the variegated version of one, or this is at least one type of variegated version of this. Although it is also a little bit of a super baby plant, and I'm not necessarily seeing the variegation big time right now, but that doesn't mean that it won't necessarily become more apparent as this plant matures. But this is an Anthurium Silver Blush White Mint Variegated. So I love the round shape of Silver Blush leaves. And also, you guys, I'm trying to bend this one down so it's not in the way of seeing the bigger one up here. I also love that they stay smaller and more compact than a lot of other Anthuriums, and they've got those beautiful silver veins, but as I stated, not really seeing a lot of variegation there. I'm gonna try to, since the light shining through the back might be just making it hard to see exactly what's going on, I'm gonna put some better footage with a different camera up so you guys can see a little bit better, but I'm not necessarily seeing the variegation right now, like I said, but I don't know, we'll see. And there's a new leaf that just unfurled right there that hasn't fully even hardened off yet. Maybe it will be more apparent on that one, but a lot of Anthurium, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead while I'm telling you what I'm about to tell you. I'm gonna start getting in to the baggie here so we can see what the roots look like. But a lot of variegated Anthurium, with the exception of some that I've been seeing come out lately that I am just like, I want one so bad. So there's a lot of Anthurium coming out right now that actually have variegation that looks like my salsa dancer hibiscus leaves, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I have not even asked anybody how much these cost because I know they're gonna be like massively expensive. But prior to now, like seeing really crazy variegation like that on Anthurium is kind of rare. Like you really never saw it a lot unless you were like at a plant show. People would have really big, beautiful, like sectoral even variegated Anthuriums entered into plant show competitions and things like that. But a lot of the plants you would see being sold that were variegated Anthurium would just be super subtle variegation. So I'm imagining that's probably what we're gonna end up with on this. Oh, and here I am like, well, I already started to take this all the way out of the baggie, unlike what I've been doing with everybody else's roots. So I guess we're just doing that with this one. But this is probably just one of those that's a little bit more subtly variegated, but it is also kind of a baby plant. We did lose one leaf in transit, but the roots, as usual, for an Anthurium look pretty pristine right there. And once again, smaller roots, which makes me happy because I find they are less likely to have issues with the rehabbing process. But oh man, I just love the shape of Anthurium Silver Blush leaves. And just so you guys know, this is a variation on a Doriaki. So if you like that shape and you like that it's a Anthurium that stays a little bit more compact and small, Doriakis are good for you as well, would be a good one for you as well. But just know that these also Doriaki, silver blush. I'm blanking on some of the other variations now. They are not the fastest growers. You guys really are not the fastest growers. This is technically the third version of a Doriaki, I think. Yeah, third one that I own. And yeah, they're not super fast growers, but that might be a good thing for you because, you know, sometimes Anthurium can grow so fast to get out of hand and like, yeah, you're like, I need space. I really should have gotten, maybe I can just shove you in. Maybe I'll drop this in. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, I think maybe I can just put it in with the Syngonium, and the Syngonium leaves will help keep it from falling all the way in. All right, we're good. All right, super excited about that one. Not that I need another Anthurium right now. Like, if you guys don't know, last year was like my Anthurium year where I had successfully cared for my regular silver blush for a year. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some more Anthurium. And instead of just getting a few, I did what a lot of plant people do and got a ton. And so it's gone pretty well. But as I mentioned in a recent video, I think it was my summer favorites video, I haven't seen hardly any leaf growth on most of my Anthuriums this summer. And I think, well, I speculated that it was because we repotted most of them like in the spring. And I think they were just working on their roots. Well, it's almost like they heard me complaining that they weren't putting out leaves because right after that video aired, they all started putting out new leaves. So I might be filming an Anthurium update for you guys here sometime soon because I was just like, really? Now you're gonna put out all these nice leaves? Apparently I need to talk bad about my plants more frequently in videos so they'll turn around and start doing what they should be doing. But yeah, so I'm super excited that they're all starting to put out leaves now. And I think I was right that they were just kind of working on the root system after the repots. But yeah, you'll get to see those soon. There's still a few that I mentioned I might purge out of my collection that I haven't purged yet, but one for sure I know is gonna still get purged, but it is finally giving me a new leaf. So that's exciting. All right, all we got left, let me try and shove this back, some of this at least, back into this bag. And all we've got left is the Monstera. And you guys, when I looked at the name of the Monstera, I forgot. I told you I forgot what they said they were gonna send me. I forgot that they were gonna send me this Monstera, and I'm just like kind of in awe that they decided to send this to me. I did not tell them at all like what to send. They didn't even ask me like, well, what kind of plants do you like? Or at least I don't think they did. Oh, actually, you know what? He might have asked me. I think maybe I said surprise me. I don't know. Let me put this in the box and I'll check. I feel like maybe I said surprise me. Okay, guys, I just checked. Apparently mine was going back to a year ago with somebody else who had imported plants or sent plants via import to me who I had said surprised me because I was like, I know I told somebody surprised me. But no, they just picked the plants. They just picked the plants, like, and I'm shocked that they picked this plant. 1 second. I forgot I had put it on the floor because it was taking up so much space. Like, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see on the secondary camera everything that I'm doing here. But oh my gosh. So while I'm getting into this, I wanna make sure y'all can't see the label. I don't want you to know until I get it unwrapped. But it is a form of Monstera deliciosa, just so you know. It is a variegated form of Monstera deliciosa. I'm not sure what the difference really is looking at this compared to another type of variegated Monstera that I will tell you what the other type is as soon as I finish getting this out of here and show it to you. I know what the difference between them supposedly is, but I remember when they originally told me that they were gonna send this, I remember Googling side-by-side comparison photos and I was struggling to tell the difference in some of them. But then again, you know how it goes. Like, you don't know when you Google videos, people put ones next to each other. You don't know if they actually got it right? Like, they could have put two of the same type of plant next to each other, or they could have had one sold to them labeled incorrectly. You know what I mean? But I was struggling to see the difference. So I'm kind of hoping as soon as I get this out of here, when I see it, maybe I'll be like, oh yeah, that does look different and I can see how that looks different, because otherwise we're gonna have to have a big discussion. You guys are gonna have to help me out with understanding the real difference between this and the other plant that I'm going to inform you about in a second. Oh, I will say smaller plants are way easier to unpackage here on my desk in my office than super big ones. But we're doing a pretty good job of not making a huge mess here. Oh, and Theo has gone somewhere else. He's not hanging out outside the door anymore. How nice of him to decide to not yell at me about dinner, which, by the way, you guys, I think it's like, I don't even know where I put my phone. Oh yeah, no, he's got like another hour till it's dinner time, but he just likes to fuss early. He likes to try to trick me into thinking it's dinner time before it's actually dinner time. And he also knows if he annoys me enough, I will be like, oh my God, I'm just gonna feed you so you will stop annoying me so I can get what I'm trying to get done. He has trained me so well, you guys. I have trained him not well. Alrighty, oh my goodness. Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. But yeah, I'm struggling on the difference. Okay, this is a Monstera albo white tiger. So Monstera deliciosa, albo white tiger. You guys, look how beautiful that leaf is. That is gorgeous. And you know I love marbly variegation on Monstera albos. And that right there is like my ideal Monstera albo type leaf. So my understanding, you guys, is that the white tiger is more stripy in the variegation, which I don't know if that just means that you get more of that marbled look that I like. I don't really understand what people mean by stripy unless they just mean that it has like the kind of striation look to it that you see there. But this looks very similar to how the variegation presents on the Monstera albo that I kept for my rare plant inventory that I really, really liked because of the marbly variegation on it. So that's why I'm saying I'm a little bit not sure, but I will go get that one in a second. But look at this leaf. This one's got a little bit more of the sectoral going on it, but oh my gosh, look how many leaves. I need to back up so you guys can see, like, I don't even know. And there's one unfurling right there. So let me count these leaves if I even can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves, you guys. 6 leaves. That one right there is just, oh my God. And like I need another Monstera albo. Technically this makes 3. This one's like a white tiger though. The other ones are just regular albos. As far as I know, I mean, it could be that the one that I kept out of rare inventory just, I don't even know if white tiger was a thing. Like if we actually named it at the point that I got that one. I don't know. I can't keep up with when all the new types of Monsteras actually come out and like are officially named and all of that stuff. But I am interested to see how these roots look because I have not had good luck with Monstera deliciosas of any kind, which actually the only kind I've imported before is just the standard albo. But they have always had issues with the roots when I've imported them. Like I've never had one that didn't have rot. So if this one doesn't have rot, I am gonna be so happy and shocked in a good way. And once again, they tend to have, especially when they're mature like this, they tend to have bigger, chunkier roots. And I find that because they're bigger and chunkier, just like with what I was saying with Monstera roots, when they're bigger and chunkier, they tend to have a little bit of a harder time. This piece of tape is kind of cinching this bag together and making it hard to get the plant out. They seem to have a harder time recovering in my experience. But I've never lost one when trying to rehab it, so that's good. Oh no, there's another piece of tape. So much tape. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay, there is some rot going on here. I just think that's just par for the course, apparently, with Monsteras deliciosas and importing. So I will show you in a second. Let me try and get the moss off of here as much as I can. And I'm gonna have to get a different vessel for this one because I don't have room in the other ones now. And because there is so much rot, I don't really want to put it in with anyone else. So what I'm about to show you guys, it's just what's gonna happen. And honestly, this is the least bad I've ever had one come in. And there is roots is roots. There are roots that are actually showing new growth. So the end of that root right there, hopefully you guys can see. Is the camera focusing? Yes. It is actively growing as it has been in the moss, but also hopefully you can see all of this dark business up here that's all rotted. So this is going to have to get all trimmed off. I will give it a root rot treatment, and I just kind of have to trace around. You can see here where the root broke. That is also rotted, where that is super dark. Sorry, the camera is trying to focus on my face. So actually, since I gotta go get another thing of water, I'm gonna go get that real quick, and I'm gonna get my snips because I wanna snip some of this off, the worst of it, before I put it into the water. All right, you guys, I think I got most of the bad stuff off of here. So we still have lots of root to work with here. Not that big of a deal. I'm gonna stick it down in its giant thing of water over here, and then and then figure out where to put it so it's not blocking the view for everybody. Let's try moving it here. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, let's throw these leaves side by side up on screen here. So I think the newest leaf here is the best example to look at from my regular Monstera albo, because it's got a good amount of the kind of marbly look and then also some of the white. So looking at this, compared to the, I think it was the first leaf I showed you on the white tiger, looks very similar, you guys, like very similar. I mean, that marble patterning, doesn't that look pretty much the same to you guys? Am I crazy? I mean, comment down below, but even like where you see how on the white tiger in the white section, you can see the light green, the kind of grayish green peeking through. You can see that on the other plant as well, up there above the highest up fenestration on that plant. Like very similar, you guys. I'm really struggling here. I'm struggling to understand the difference. So somebody needs to help me out down below. Now I will say, like, there's definitely more marbling on the white tiger that I have here, but I don't know if that's just because I was hoping it was gonna be easy to show it to you. Okay, maybe, sort of, kind of. So I don't know though, you guys, you're just gonna have to look at the plant instead of me, but obviously this is more enjoyable to look at anyway, I'm sure. All right, so it's definitely got more marbling, but I don't know if that's just because this is a more variegated specimen, if you will, than like my albo is, if that makes sense, because my albo right now is giving me kind of like a lot of heavy white sectoral leaves with a little marble, a lot of heavy green with a little marble, and then some that look like this that are super marbled, but it's just kind of depending obviously on where it comes out on the stem. Now this stem is highly variegated all the way around, which my regular albo that we were looking at is not. It has some larger green sections on the stem. So, or I guess you should say the vine. So yeah, so this might just naturally be a more variegated specimen. Not that the type of plant is more variegated, but just like with regular albos, there's gonna be levels or variation in the levels of variegation from plant to plant. Same thing with the white tigers. So I'm still just struggling to understand the difference. Somebody help me out here, but does not change the fact that this is an absolutely stunning plant that I am super happy to own, and I am really hoping that the rehab on this goes well and I don't just lose a ton of roots or anything like that, or a ton of leaves. Oh my God, it's so beautiful, you guys. So beautiful. And you know what, you guys, this is probably gonna stay in water longer than most of the other plants, because I have found that my Monstera albo that I put in leca, I feel like is growing more quickly and loving life a little bit more than my one that is in soil. So I will probably end up putting this in leca. And because it was probably, I'm guessing, on a moss pole or something of the sort, or in soil, I might need to leave it in water longer to actually really start to develop water roots before I put it into leca, or I'm gonna run a bigger risk of the roots like going completely to rot. But oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited like about a lot of these plants, most of these plants, all of these plants. Like, oh man, I am a little bit worried about the number of leaves that look like they're dying off on the Aglaonema, but the roots look pristine and they're tough as nails, so it should be good to go. And I'm also just massively I don't know. This might be the Hoya, you guys. It might be the Hoya that changes my mind. All right, you guys. Well, I want to thank Greenspaces.id again for sending me all these plants. They are gorgeous. They shipped absolutely fabulously. Yes, we did have a little rut on the Monstera, but like I said, that is par for the course in my experience, and that is the least amount I have seen on a Monstera. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me unbox these plants today. I want to know which one is your favorite. Comment down below. And if you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to click that like and or subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Aloha!